Hello there you guys, welcome to another of my videos. Gonna be giving you my starting 11 prediction ahead of Manchester United's game against West Ham. So, gonna go with David De Gea in goal. Like I've said, he will remain our number one for the present time. David De Gea has really impressed me this season. There's been quite a few games where he's made some very, very good saves, but there has been a couple of games where he really hasn't had much to do. You know, this is his 10th season at Manchester United, so he has been a long servant. He's made over 500 appearances for the football club in all competitions. I think at some point Dean Henderson will become our number one. There has been quite a few Manchester United fans saying that, it would be now the right time to put Dean Henderson as number one. Dean Henderson is reliable enough to become our number one. The main explanation is because he has got that experience behind him. He did endure two successful loans with Sheffield United. He's had loan spells with Stockport, Grimsby and Shrewsbury before. Dean Henderson's been part of the club for several years because we got him at the age of 14. During the summer transfer window, he signed a 6-year contract with Man United worth 120 grand a week, so he did commit his future with the club. Last weekend against Southampton, Dean Henderson made his Premier League debut because David De Gea came off with a knee injury. There has been rumours of Dean Henderson going out on loan in January, but Solskjaer said prior to the Istanbul Başakşehir game that Dean Henderson wants to stay and he wants to play for the club. So yeah. At right back, I think we're going to go with Aaron Wan-Bissaka. He'll keep his place in the team. I've been very, very impressed with Aaron Wan-Bissaka in quite a few games this season. In the games he's played well and he's showed good attacking intent. He's put good crosses into the box. He's got into some good positions. His defensive contributions being good. And Wan-Bissaka did well against PSG recently. There has been a couple of games where he hasn't been so good and, he's looked too exposed. We do have element of concerns about his distribution and his lack of attacking intent. This is his second season at Manchester United. And Wan-Bissaka is our first choice right back. We've obviously got another option at right back, and that's, Timothy Fosu-Mensah. Last time I read up about him, it said that Man United offered him a 3-year contract because it said Ole Gunnar Solskjaer wants to keep him at the club. He's only started like 4 times in 3.5 years at the club. Last season, we triggered a 1-year extension on his contract. Timothy Fosu-Mensah played quite a few games towards the end of last season. Now, the two centre-halves will be Victor Lindelof and Harry Maguire. They are our first choice centre-halves. Now, Lindelof, I think he has enjoyed some good games this season, but he's also enjoyed a lot of bad games as a Man United player, and I do have my reservations about him. He's nowhere near on the same level as Harry Maguire. Lindelof's enjoyed a good 3 years or so now at Manchester United. We paid £31 million for him from Benfica back in 2017. Lindelof wasn't good against PSG recently. Harry Maguire, now, he wasn't good against PSG, looked too exposed at the back, but he's enjoyed some good games this season, Harry Maguire, where he's looked very effective in the air, his composure's been good, and he's showed that ability to play out from the back. Don't forget he did have early season troubles because he had that incident in Greece before the start of the season. He had a few knocks earlier on in the season and he got sent off in England's 1-0 defeat to Denmark earlier on in the season. He is our current captain. Do you think we should take the captaincy off him and give it to someone else? and he's the most expensive centre-half in the world at the moment. We've got a couple of other options at centre-half. Obviously Axel Tuanzebe is available. So would you drop out Maguire or Lindelof and put Tuanzebe there instead? I don't think it'll happen though. I think it will be Maguire and Lindelof. But Tuanzebe wasn't available against PSG because he was suspended. He got his third booking against Istanbul Başakşehir. Tuanzebe was very, very consistent in the game against PSG in Paris. That was his first start for the club in 10 months. I like the way he dealt with Mbappe and Neymar. Eric Bailly, he's also another option. I think he's just come back from a muscle injury. That's my only concern about Eric Bailly. He's far too injury prone. He's enjoyed a good 4 years or so now at Manchester United. We paid like £30 million for him from Villarreal back in 2016. Left back, we will go with Alex Telles. Alex Telles has enjoyed a fantastic start to his Manchester United career. Telles, I thought played well against PSG recently. He showed good attacking intent. He got in some decent positions. I like the way he crosses the ball. Defensively, though, didn't really do much against PSG. We got Alex Telles for like 15.4 million with add-ons included. He impressed me in the game against Southampton. He was also good against Başakşehir. He was good on his Premier League debut against West Brom, and he did well on his Champions League debut against PSG in Paris earlier on in the season. He's obviously now our first choice left back. Now, obviously, Luke Shaw's another option at left back. I think he's still out, isn't he? But he has been back in training, but he has been out with a hamstring injury. That's my element of concern about Luke Shaw. He's far too injury prone. Luke Shaw's enjoyed a good 6 years or so at Manchester United. He had an injury towards the end of last season, and he was injured at the first part of last season. And that's when, obviously, Brandon Williams came into the equation. Williams played quite a lot of games last season. Brandon Williams is our third choice left back. He doesn't really get in the team now much. But yeah, it will be Alex Telles at left back. Now in the midfield, I think it's going to be Donny van de Beek and Fred. I'm hoping Donny van de Beek can start this game against West Ham. If he does, it will be his second start in the Premier League for Man United. Donny van de Beek didn't start against PSG, but he did come on. And I said Solskjaer should have started Donny van de Beek against PSG. He's been playing in that deeper role recently. He played in that deeper role against Southampton. He played in that deeper role against Istanbul Başakşehir. That's where he's more effective. But Donny van de Beek has made an admission saying that he's not bothered which position he plays as long as he can help the team win games. And Donny van de Beek has denied that he's unhappy at the club. He's willing to be patient for his opportunities. We paid £40 million for him from Ajax. And as for Fred, I think he'll start this game, against West Ham. Fred was sent off in our 3-1 loss to PSG. Fred received 2 yellow cards. He was lucky not to be sent off in the first half for the headbutt on Paredes. He got the second yellow card for the challenge on Ander Herrera, but he actually won the ball. But Fred should not have been on the pitch, to get sent off. Ole Gunnar Solskjaer should have taken him off at half-time. And Ole Gunnar Solskjaer admitted the mistake that he made. You know, he basically said maybe he should have taken Fred off. Obviously, Fred's not going to be available for the game against RB Leipzig next week, so who's going to come in to replace him? Obviously, it doesn't affect it in the league, him getting sent off in the Champions League. Fred has enjoyed some good games though this season for Man United. You know, there's been a couple of games where he has looked off the pace. You know, paid £47 million for him from Shakhtar Donetsk. I thought Fred was an exceptional player when he was at Shakhtar Donetsk. I really, really do. Now, ahead of them, I think it will be Bruno Fernandes. Bruno Fernandes is definitely Manchester United's best player, and he's the best signing we have made since Alex Ferguson's retirement. He's nearly enjoyed a year now at the football club. He's scored a lot of goals. You know, let's be honest, a lot of his goals have come from the penalty spot. He's also provided assists. He won Player of the Month for November. You know, we paid €55 million for him from Sporting Lisbon back in January. And he's under contract with Man United until 2025. But he has definitely made the difference in the team. There's only been a couple of games where he's looked off the pace. He weren't great against PSG. You know, he did have some good touches, but I thought he wasn't that influential. I think his worst game in a Manchester United shirt was the Istanbul Başakşehir game in Turkey when we lost 2-1 because he was dispossessed like 34 times. Bruno Fernandes. Now, there's obviously other options in midfield. You know, obviously McTominay's an option. Maybe he could start, but I don't think he will. McTominay has just come back from a knock. He did actually start the game against PSG, and he was very, very poor. Matic is another option, but I don't think he'll start. You know, Matic doesn't get in the team a lot now. The only reason Matic was getting game time recently is because Pogba wasn't available and McTominay's just recently been out with a knock. Obviously, Pogba, he's another option in midfield. Maybe he could start this game, but I don't think he will. You know, Pogba missed our last 3 games prior to the PSG game because he was out with an ankle injury. And he didn't start against PSG, but he did come on. Now, on the left-hand side, I think we're going to go with Anthony Martial. He's been playing on the left-hand side recently. You know, Martial started on that left-hand side against PSG. He also started on the left-hand side. Was it against Southampton? Oh, sorry, no, it was against Istanbul Başakşehir. Sorry, he started on the left-hand side. But I can't remember all the games, but he has been playing there recently. And Solskjaer gave his verdict on, you know, him playing on the left. And he said he's happy that he's back on that left-hand side. I think Martial needs to be dropped, though, because he is out of form. He obviously missed. He had 2 good chances against PSG. Should have scored. Just hasn't been clinical enough this season. Ollie explained why Anthony Martial has been struggling this season. Obviously because of the 3-match suspension that he had in the Premier League. Don't forget he got sent off in our 6-1 defeat to Tottenham. Solskjaer was the one that gave Anthony Martial the number 9. Martial was playing a lot centrally last season. Last season, Martial scored 23 goals for the club in 48 games, and he did well in his debut season under Louis van Gaal. He's enjoyed a good 5 years or so at the football club. Now, Marcus Rashford. I don't know if he's going to be available for this game because these reports coming out saying that he's a doubt for this game because it said Marcus Rashford sustained a shoulder injury in our 3-1 loss to PSG. Now, not so long ago, he had a problem with his shoulder. When we played West Brom a few last month, Rashford didn't look fully fit, and due to the shoulder problem, missed one of England's games. Marcus Rashford did score our goal against PSG, but it was deflected, but I think the goal had still been given to him. Rashford scored 3 times now against PSG. But I think Rashford's really improved under the Ole Gunnar Solskjaer era. I think his finishing's improved, he's getting good runs in behind, he's scoring goals, and he's still got a lot of development in him. He only turned 23 a few weeks ago. He's been a United player since the age of 7, and he's been in our senior squad since 2016. So if Rashford is available to play, then he'll probably go on the right or he'll go on the left. Rashford can come in for Anthony Martial, can't he? But we'll have to see anyway. But Rashford's not available. Martial, yeah, on the left. On the right-hand side, I think we could go with Mason Greenwood. Mason Greenwood does play on the right a lot. A couple of times, though, he has played centrally. Now, I haven't really had much of a perception on Mason Greenwood this season because obviously he's had a lot of personal issues and he's had injuries and he obviously had illness. But Solskjaer's been defending him a lot this season, saying that, he's enjoyed a fantastic year. This is his second season in our senior squad. At the start of this season, we give Mason Greenwood that number 11 shirt. Greenwood's under contract with Man United until 2023. Obviously, there's other options who we could go with on the right-hand side. Like I said, Rashford is an option if he's available. Juan Mata's an option, but I don't see us starting him. Juan Mata started quite a few games, though, this season. He did well in both our Carabao Cup games against Luton and Brighton. Got man of the match for both of them games. Did well in the Newcastle game earlier on this season. He did well in the Chelsea game, but there's been a few games where it hasn't been so consistent. Now, my element of concern about Juan Mata is that he's not injury prone. He's lost that yard of pace, and he is now, the age of 33? Age 33, 34? He's had a good career at Man United. He's enjoyed a good 6 years or so at the club. We got him £40 million from Chelsea back in 2014. He scored 50 goals for Man United in all competitions, and he's made over 200 appearances in all competitions. Jesse Lingard, now, he'd also be another option on the right, but I don't see him starting because he doesn't regularly get in the team now. He's just come back not so long ago. Obviously, he's out of his self-isolation period. He did have an injury. So, yeah. Now, up top, I think we're going to go with Edinson Cavani. Now, as it stands, the FA have not yet made their decision on what they're going to do with Edinson Cavani. It actually did say that Edinson Cavani is facing a 3-match ban. That's minimum for the racist comment that he put on social media. The FA have been investigating this social media post. Obviously, Solskjaer came out in the press conference prior to the PSG game saying that Edinson Cavani has apologised for what he's done. Ollie supports the FA, though, for investigating the social media post. Cavani did play against PSG. He started. It was good to see him reunite with his former club, and he did well. He had a great chance, he hit the crossbar. Cavani scored 2 goals last week against Southampton when he came off the bench, and he also got an assist. He did well against Istanbul Başakşehir. He did well against West Brom when he came on. He scored his first goal for the club in our 3-1 win against Everton, and almost scored with his first touch when he came on against Chelsea. So he has made an impact. He's not yet, I don't think he's yet made his full Premier League debut. We got him on a free transfer on deadline day, signed a 2-year contract with Man United worth around 240 grand a week. Obviously, Ighalo is another option up top. Ighalo doesn't really get in the team a lot now, though, does he? You know, Ighalo did come on against PSG. Now, we got Odion Ighalo on deadline day in January. The main explanation we got him in was to get a cover up to Marcus Rashford. And to be fair to Ighalo, he was our top goal scorer in the FA Cup last season. His loan with Man United expires next month, does it? And that's when I think he will leave the club. But yeah, I think it will be Cavani up top, providing that the FA have not made a decision by the time we play West Ham tomorrow. So there you go. But yeah, it's going to be a big game tomorrow against West Ham. You know, it's going to be a tough game. You know, West Ham have been in form. You know, they're sitting 5th in the Premier League. That's very, very good to their standards, West Ham's. They've won the last 3 games in a row in the league. They've got some good players in their team that Manchester United need to be aware of. They've obviously got Lanzini. He's one of their key players. They've got Sebastian Haller. He's one of their key players. They've got Mikel Antonio. He's one of their key players. He's just come back from a hamstring problem. They've got Declan Rice. He's one of their key players. You know, they've got Robert Snodgrass. They've got Jared Bowen. They've got Pablo Fornals. They've got Craig Dawson, who they got on loan, I think, from Watford. Will he play any part in this game for West Ham? They've got Ben Rama. They got him on loan from Brentford. Will he play any part in this game? You know, they've got Issa Diop, who I think is a good centre-half. They've obviously got Yarmolenko. He recently had COVID. They've got Jack Wilshere. They've got Aaron Cresswell. So West Ham have got some good players in their team. David Moyes is going to be reuniting with Manchester United tomorrow. You know, David Moyes is a former Manchester United manager. Moyes is now into his second spell with West Ham. And to be fair, he's, you know, rejuvenated them. Obviously, before they had Manuel Pellegrini. David Moyes, I thought, did very, very well at Everton. That's the club he's done best at, Everton. You know, he enjoyed a good 10 or 11 years with Everton. Obviously, he was poor at Man United, he was poor at Real Sociedad, and he was poor at Sunderland. You know, he did get Sunderland relegated. You know, we've lost our last 2 visits to London Stadium. Last time we played there, we lost 2-0, and the time before, we lost 3-1 at the London Stadium. But yeah, West Ham are coming into this game on the back of a 2-1 win against Aston Villa. We've got a massive game against RB Leipzig next week in the Champions League group stages. It's our final game in the group, and Manchester United must either draw or win to qualify for the knockout stage. If we lose, we are back into the Europa League. But RB Leipzig's going to be a tough game. It really, really is. Because RB Leipzig have got one of the best young coaches in the world in Julian Nagelsmann. You know, they got to the Champions League semi-finals last season, and they also finished 3rd in the Bundesliga last season. Yeah, we did beat them 5-0 at Old Trafford earlier on in the season, but I think this game at their stadium is going to be totally contrast to the one at Old Trafford, isn't it? But I was disappointed with the PSG game because it was a missed opportunity to qualify for the knockout stage. All we needed was a point. And after RB Leipzig, we are at home to City. That's going to be a tough game. You know, should we revert to a back 3 against Manchester City? Yeah. But like I said, Ole Gunnar Solskjaer is not the long-term manager for Manchester United. It's just his decision-making worries me a lot. You know, in a lot of his games at Man United, he's been very tactically naive. This is Ole's second full season at the football club. And I always said, didn't I, this season was going to be big for Ole Gunnar Solskjaer. And I said, obviously, he's got to exceed his expectations if he is to remain Manchester United manager. And I said, if we could finish in the top 4 this season, and if we could win a trophy, that would represent a very, very good season for Man United. Then that would give us something to build on. Now, we haven't enjoyed the best of starts to the season. You know, obviously, we've lost 4 games at Old Trafford this season. You know, lost at home to Palace on the opening day, lost 6-1 at home to Tottenham, lost at home to Arsenal, and also lost at home to PSG recently. We've been enjoying our worst start at Old Trafford for around 50 years. Away from home, though, we've done much better. We have won our last 8 away games in a row in the league, and we haven't lost away from home in the league since January. So let's just put that into the equation. Sometime this month, it will be Solskjaer's 2-year anniversary at the football club. You know, he's been Manchester United manager now for almost 2 years. You know, the main explanation he is still Manchester United manager is because he is a club legend. I think disregarding him being a club legend, he would have been sacked by now. Our board are softening their stance on him. I'm very, very sceptical that he will see out his contract at the club because he's under contract with Man United until 2022. The other week there was talks about, you know, Ole Gunnar Solskjaer getting a new contract, but he says a new contract is not his priority at the moment. You know, he said his priority is leading the club to long-term success. I don't think he can lead the club to long-term success, but he did say that the team are going places under his management. I thought Solskjaer as a player was exceptional. You know, he was a super sub. He enjoyed 11 years as a player for Man United, and he flourished under Ferguson's guidance. But my perception on him as a manager is totally contrast to how he was as a player, because he hasn't got that proven pedigree as a manager, let's be honest. You know, Man United is the 3rd club in his managerial career. You know, obviously before he came to us, he was at Molde. Won a few Norwegian titles there, but they're not big. And before he was at Molde, he was at Cardiff, and his record at Cardiff was absolutely disastrous. You know, but Solskjaer knew when he'd taken over at Man United, it was going to be a massive job for him, despite him knowing the culture and that of the club. You know, obviously, there's been talks of Mauricio Pochettino coming in to replace Solskjaer. You know, there's been obviously talks of Massimiliano Allegri coming in a few times. A few weeks ago, there was talks of Julian Nagelsmann coming in. It could still be Man United manager in January, Solskjaer. You know, it depends how things go from now till January. You know, we have enjoyed some good periods under him. You know, was unbeaten in our last 4 games in all competitions until PSG beat us. We still remain unbeaten in our last 3 league games. You know, went on the 19-game unbeaten run last season in all competitions. We was 14 unbeaten in the Premier League. Did well in that 3-month period when he was the interim manager. But if we did decide to sack Solskjaer, that wouldn't really solve much, would it? Because there's been quite a few problems at the club. You know, there's obviously been a lot of problems with the board at the club for several years. You know, there's still players at Man United that are not good enough to represent Man United, and we're looking to get rid of more of the deadwood next year. Like I said to you, it would be very beneficial if Manchester United could get a director of football in. Yeah. So anyway, guys, that's everything to update you today. Drop your comments, likes below on the channel. If you do, consider subscribe as always, and take care. God bless. See you all again very, very soon.